Hello, everybody. Welcome to the GM Sports Report, your weekly podcast on all things sports, where every play counts. I'm Grant, and I'm here with my co-host Mason as we get ready to cover the latest news, headlines, and upcoming events going on in the sports world. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see all things GM Sports Report. Mason, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Grant. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. We got a lot to dive into, so we'll go ahead and just start out like we start out every week, and that is with our hot take of the week. So, Mason, what is your hot take for this week?
We actually recorded right before this news got, I think, disclosed last week, but I kind of wanted to touch on it. I think that the firing of head coach Tom Thibodeau will either make or break this New York Knicks team. Um, it happens so early into the off season, so it's something that they I guess needed to address, and we'll see how that affects the locker room, how that affects the team upcoming season. And I guess they just said that they wanted to just get past the hump that we lost this year, even though I thought we were doing well. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I think it's a pretty impulsive decision, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm glad you touched on that. We always joke around because every time we record, right after we record, it seems like a huge news
Yeah.
in the sports world breaks. And last week that was Thibodeau being fired, obviously. And I don't. It's too early for me to say if it was the right call or not. Like you were kind of saying, it happened
Mm-hmm.
very early on. I'm interested to see who they get. I know I'm seeing Jason Kidd and Malone a lot as like the two favorites, I'd say. Which are both great coaches, but I think Tibbs is a great coach in his own way. I know they had their problems with him towards the end, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Um, and yeah, it's also interesting to see how much that's going to affect them playing in the free agency role and trade
Yep.
market this offseason. So it'll be interesting.
Yep.
My hot take for this week is actually it's a pretty hot take. I said if the MLB season ended today, Cal Riley is your AL MVP this season. This dude is playing absolutely fantastic. He's leading the league in home runs with 26 home runs right now, and he is on pace for 66 home runs this season. That is just absurd. Switch hitting catcher. You don't see this from the catcher position too often, a guy that can hit this many home runs. And on top of that, he's a platinum glove winner, not just a gold glove winner, a platinum gold glove winner. So one of the best fielders at his position, which when you hear about most valuable player, I think Fielding has to play a big part of that because Fielding is half the game. He throws out runners. He plays great defense behind the plate. And on top of that, he's hitting 26 home runs right now and counting. So if the season ended today, Cal Raleigh is my MVP, and it's not a knock to Judge. I know Aaron Judge is having a fantastic season, but I got to take everything into consideration, and Cal Raleigh is my MVP if season ended today.
Yeah, I mean he's been phenomenal, and it hurts that there's even a discussion because of how good Judge has been this year, and to see a guy like Cal Raleigh put up the numbers he has been, it's like, man, if it was just like any other year, like just a regular Judge year, you would have like there wouldn't even be a debate. But I see comments saying like, oh yeah, the MLB is just trying to push a new agenda and putting Cal Raleigh MVP. I think he deserves the talk. He's been
Yeah,
playing
at least
well.
for
So
now.
yeah. For now, it's still a long season. We'll see if both these guys, Judge and really, really continue to put up these numbers. And I think further down the line, when it gets into that kind of September, October months, and if they're still doing what they're doing, it'll be a very, very interesting debate. So
Yeah, it
yeah.
will be. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and slide into our underdog of the week. So I'll let you go ahead and take that away as well.
Yeah, so I think this guy fits the absolute, title of underdog of the week, and it's a guy who I has been making some of these catches who I can't even fathom, and his name is Denzel Clark, outfielder for the A's, I believe. Um, he's making unbelievable catches, and yeah, just huge shout out to him.
That's actually crazy because I also picked Denzel Clark.
Goodness
Like you were
gracious.
saying, three crazy catches in the last 2 weeks. Two of them being robbed home runs, which is like the one that happened last night is probably one of
It
the
was
best catches I've ever
ridiculous.
seen in my life. Hanging over the
Mhm.
fence on a backhand in it, Just an
backhand
absolute
in it.
crazy catch. And the one he literally put his body on the line on that other one where he's running full speed and slams into
Yeah.
the wall. He could have easily broke his forearm on
Y-
that play, being out for the
I mean,
season.
you saw how hurt he
But
was at like how shook he was getting up. It
yeah,
was just phenomenal.
yeah, yeah. I love a good Golden Glove caliber plays, and this guy's been making them happen out in that outfield. So I also went with him as
Hmm.
my underdog this week because I know the Athletics have been struggling as of late, so they haven't been talked about as much. But yeah, I agree with that.
Yep.
All right, now we're going to go ahead and slide over into the NBA because right now we have the NBA Finals going on. The series is tied at 1-1. Uh, OKC versus the Indiana Pacers. Mason, what are your thoughts on this series so far? How do you see this going and moving forward? Just give me a little rundown.
So yeah, I'll just talk about game one real quick because that was I didn't really get to watch too much game two, but game one, man, that one hurt to watch. If you've been watching the podcast, you know I'm a big New York fan. I like Knicks and everything. But man, that was the exact thing that happened game one against the Knicks. Just down 20. The only lead change that they had was the game winner by Halliburton, and I got to give them credit. They've been having an absolutely phenomenal season. Everyone's been, doubting them throughout this whole postseason, and for them to get wins when they need it, it's been impressive to see. But Thunder came back, game two, got the win that they needed to get because going down 0-2 at home, obviously it doesn't go well. So yeah, they're gonna go to Indiana now, and yeah, hopefully Thunder can pull it off.
Yeah, so far for this finals, I've actually really enjoyed it. It's nice for once to just kind of sit back and relax and just enjoy the two teams because I don't really have beef with either of the teams. It's just nice to see some fun, fast paced basketball with these two young teams that are very talented. One specifically on the offensive end, I think the Pacers are extremely talented on offense, and I think the Thunder are extremely talented on defense. So it's kind of cool to see that clash and how that's going to work out. Game one obviously caught me by a huge surprise, down 20
Yep.
and being able to mount that comeback and win. I know we've seen them do it a few times before in this playoff run. It's just insane every time you watch it. Tyrese Halliburton shooting 13 of 15 on game time or go ahead shots with 2 or less minutes left in a game this season. That's just absurd. Um, I I I couldn't say enough positive things about Halliburton in this playoff run that they've had. I know coming into it, there's people saying he wasn't a superstar. There's people saying he was the most overrated player in basketball, and he's just shut them all up. And I really like seeing that. And game two was kind of what I was expecting after that kind of a loss. I was expecting that with the Knicks too, to be fair, in that series going into
Me
game two
too.
after the game one loss. You expect them to, protect their home court and, beat them in a bad way. And the Knicks weren't able to do that in their series. I think that was what the difference maker was. But the
Hmm.
Thunder were able to do it in this series. So I think we're going to see a very close series ahead of us. Going into game three in Indiana, I expect the Pacers to take that game. I really do. They've had a great home crowd throughout this playoffs. They've actually been better on the road than they have at home, which is very interesting to see. But with it being the finals, I think
Hmm.
this is a very big advantage for them with the home court. So I expect them to win this game three, and then I don't know how it goes from there. I have to see. It's really a game to game thing for me that I'm processing these finals because both teams are so good, and I think the Thunder are a better team, but with how much of a crazy run this Pacers team has had, I'm not counting them out in any way. So I'm very interested to see how this plays out.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you see happening in game three? Do you got Pacers or Thunder winning?
I think it'll come down to the wire again because I think really just because of how bad the Pacers have played at home, but that crowd will keep them in it if that makes sense. Thunder will probably be on their throats early, and then in regular Pacers fashion, they'll come back and make it a close game. I don't know who's gonna win it. I could really see it going either way. I think Pacers can get the win tonight at home, you know, but I would be lying to you if I said I didn't think it was gonna go 7 games. I think it absolutely will. Just the way that
Yeah.
from what we've seen so far, unless someone gets really cold or someone gets really hot, that's the only way I could see it, swaying one way or another. But yeah, it's way too close to tell, and I think this is exactly what NBA fans really needed is just a close, unexpected finals matchup. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it.
Yeah, and I think I'm expecting another split in Indiana. I think it'll be a 1-1. So to tie the series up at 2-2 after they're done playing in Indiana. I really
Hmm.
the Pacers are just such an unpredictable team right now. It's really hard to predict anything, but I really do see this series going 7 games, I think.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see how it plays out for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, now we're going to go ahead and slide over to the NFL. We haven't had a lot to talk about lately, but this last week there's been some things going on. First thing we have is Aaron Rodgers finally signing to the Steelers. Mason, what are your thoughts on that move?
I mean, I think everyone kind of anticipated it. I don't know what took him so long to, I guess, finally make a decision. Maybe it was just a mutual thing from both ends, the Steelers organization and Rodgers. Um, I don't know if this will really do much for them. I think they'll still kind of be just barely above a 500 team. Um, I don't think they'll go as far as winning, second round playoffs or anything. I think they may get to the playoffs and probably lose first round again. Rodgers just isn't what he used to be. We saw that on the Jets. He got multiple opportunities to be that guy that he was for the Packers. They got him all his weapons that he wanted and still wasn't able to get the job done. So I don't really think that there's much else to blame other than him. Yes, they have a horrible offensive line. Their defense, didn't show as much promise last year that like on the Jets, but if he wants to really revive his career with however long he has left, now is the time to do it because I don't see him playing more than 2 years. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think I think kind of Steelers fans are also kind of gaslighting themselves now, kind of how the Jets fans were to being like, oh yeah, Rodgers is going to be different, better organization. I think we're going to see the exact same thing where all the hype is just going to be depleted by probably week 3 or 4.
Yeah. Um, like you said, it was an expected sign in. Everyone knew it was going to happen. It was just a matter of time. Like you said, I don't really know what took so long, but they got it figured out. And for me, it doesn't move me. I don't think this makes the Steelers some
Right.
type of contending team. I really don't. I think Aaron Rodgers is past the prime of his career. And like you said, I don't. I you're giving him 2 years. I think that's a little generous. I could really see him only having one
Yeah,
more
that's
year left
true.
in the tank. Um, it'll be interesting to see because they got DK now, and who knows, maybe they'll be able to
That's
revive his career a little bit over there. But it doesn't really move me that much. This next move though that I want to talk about moves me a little bit more, and that is Nick Chubb going to the Houston Texans. What are your thoughts on that? I know you're a big Nick Chubb guy, so I'll let you break it
yeah.
down.
This one just like it's like a sentimental thing to me because like I was watching him at Georgia. I'm a Florida fan, and when he was on Georgia, he was one of those running backs where it was like, man, that guy, you can't deny his greatness, but the injuries, man, if he just didn't have the injuries, he'd be up there probably with, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, healthy Christian McCaffrey. He'd be in the top 5 conversations with running backs in modern day football. But, when you have 2 injuries where your leg literally goes backwards, it's hard to recover from that and be the guy that you're supposed to be or once was. I think Texans are going to utilize him well. He's not going to be an every down back. They still have Mixon, who had a great year last year. Um, it's surprising me too, though, because they have a bit of an older running back room now. So I don't know if they're going to introduce a younger running back, maybe in free agency or something, to kind of groom him to be the guy. Because the amount of knowledge in that running back room right now is insane. So I'd love to see them kind of make something of it. But yeah, I think it'll definitely help them out a lot in the power run game because Mixon, he's useful wherever you put him.
Yeah, I really like this move. Texans already have a very talented offense, and Mixon had a great season last year as their running back
Absolutely.
one, and I still think he will be running back one because I think they're going to really split this
Mhm.
backfield. I think it's going to be obviously as it should, because both of them are older and you want to,
Yep.
have both of them as fresh as possible. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this split backfield works. I think it has potential to work out really well for them, especially if
Yep.
Chubb and Mixon can both stay healthy. I know they both got banged up. Obviously, Chubb came off a terrible injury, but
Yeah.
Mixon also got banged up a little bit last season too. But I think it does have a lot of potential to work. And like you said, it would be interesting to see if they go and pick up like a younger guy as
Hmm.
well on top of that. And then you're really talking. Um, I do like this move a lot, and I'm excited to see how it works out because I think this Texans team's already very exciting. And adding him to that with his potential, I get he's not what he once was. I get he's had two terrible injuries,
Hmm.
but at the end of the day, he's still Nick Chubb. And I think if
Yep.
it's 3rd and 1, that's still probably one of the top 8 running backs in the league. You're going to want to have the go run that football in. So it'll be interesting to see.
Absolutely.
All right. Final move I wanted to talk about going into NFL is one that kind of I know caught us both by surprise, and that is Jair Alexander being released by the Green Bay Packers. What are your thoughts on that, and where do you see him ending up?
Yeah, I mean, first my initial thoughts is honestly surprised. You have a guy on defense who's been around for a long time and is loved by pretty much like all the fans. Not too much criticism. He had a off year or two, but he was still your cornerback one and the guy that trusted with the ball in the air. And to have that energy just kind of gone after finally having a defense do what they're supposed to do with Xavier McKinney and everyone else in that secondary. It's shocking. And if I was a Packers fan, I don't really know how I'd feel. Maybe they're opening up Cap for something else. I'm not too sure, but as far as where he could end up, I think 31 other teams could use him. I think he's a
Yeah,
guy who
right.
can really fit in any other organization. I know. I don't think that there's a fan out there other than a Packers fan that I don't think that there's a fan in the NFL that would be upset to have him on the roster. He's just a guy that's a game changer, and it's not like he's had crazy injuries. He's just really had a down season or two, and I think he's a much higher pro than negative. So yeah, I'd love for
Yeah.
the Giants to kind of pursue him because I know we were in kind of trade talks with him. But I think he can end up anywhere. I think every team's kind of associated with him.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. Caught me by surprise. Still a very talented player in my eyes. I know he had a couple rough seasons, like you said, but as far as where he goes, I can't just name one team right now, like you said. I think
No.
everyone's going to be in the sweepstakes for this one. So I'm just going to pull my bias to the side here because I think the Dolphins really need a corner, and I would love to see him go out and get him because we're probably going to lose Ramsey, and I think this could be a really good player to add. Yeah, we'll be following up on that. Don't know how long it'll take for him to find a new team. I'm sure everyone's going to be meeting with him and talking to him. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, quick question. I saw a report that said that both Jonnu and Jalen Ramsey were not showing up to minicamp. What do you think is going to happen with that?
Well, Ramsey, I know is going to be gone. I mean, it's been very clear that they're going to trade him. So that one, I don't really care about. I've kind of accepted that fate already. As much as I would like to have him on the team, it just doesn't seem like
Yeah,
that's a
yeah,
repairable relationship. The Johnu, I'm not as worried about yet. I know that they've been in trade discussions. I think as long as they can come down to a number where they can agree on, I do think Johnu still wants to stay in Miami. I think that's his priority. He's made that clear. He just wants a little bit of a raise. I don't know how much of a raise he wants. None of that's been really reported yet. Um, and as long as it's nothing too egregious, I think that it's fair to give him because he was definitely one of our best players, if not the best player on our offense this last season. One of the only bright spots this season. So I think it's fair to give him a little bit of a higher pay this upcoming season, as long as it's not too egregious. But if it comes out that he's asking for like 15 million or something crazy like that, when we don't know how much time he has left, we don't know if he can replicate what he did
yeah,
last season,
exactly.
then we'll have a different discussion. But I'm not as worried about him. Ramsey, I definitely expected to not show up, though. I think that bridge is burned, and I don't think there's any recovery for
Yep.
that one.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Well, now we're going to go ahead and slide over to the MLB and kind of what I wanted to do because in the next few weeks, we're going to be starting to get into the all-star discussions and the all-star game. And that's my favorite time of the baseball season before
Yep.
the playoffs, obviously. It's when it really starts feeling like actual like baseball season, like teams start taking it more seriously. The trades start happening, all that stuff. The games just have a lot more of a meaningful feeling to them. But what I wanted to do right now for this week is give our early all-star lineups. And since you watched the AL more, I'm going to let you give your AL starting lineup, and I'm going to give my NL starting lineup since I watched the NL more. And then next week, we're going to flip them, and I'll give my AL lineup, and you'll give your NL lineup. But we'll go ahead and start, and I'll let you go ahead and give your AL all-star lineup as of right now. Obviously, it can change as the weeks go on.
Okay, so first base I think was kind of the most interchangeable one for me. There's a couple guys I was looking at, but the one that's just based off hitting, Spencer Torkelson, he's probably going to be the first baseman who I'd pick. Second baseman, I looked at many different reports and stuff, and the unanimous guy that they kept putting was Gleyber Torres, and I was honestly shocked. I knew he was having a good season, but for everyone to be putting him on an All-Star, I think that's pretty big coming from where he was last year. Third base, Jose Ramirez. He's been absolutely phenomenal. That's just the guy at third. Shortstop, Royals, Bobby Witt. Just another solid guy. Left field, Stephen Kwan. I think that he's always been a great player, but he's kind of been getting his name out a lot more this season, I think, especially in the field. He's been playing absolutely amazing. Center field, Aaron Judge, and then right field, they have on multiple reports Riley Green. I haven't really been keeping up with him as much. And then catcher, obviously, Cal Riley. DH, the sad enough for Yankee killer, Rafael Devers. And then starting pitcher, Turk Skubal. So, yeah, and
Yeah, I like it.
there's many different alternates and relief pitchers that can be put, but I think that's just so interchangeable for now. So I didn't really go as far as putting them
Yeah.
on.
I mean, 2 weeks from now, some of these positions can completely flip because that's just how baseball works. But I think it's a very fair lineup to put out there for right now. But man, what a turnaround for Rafael Devers, though, with that slow start, like
Jeez,
historically slow
yeah,
start to the season. Everyone was freaking out, including us. We had a discussion on it as well
yeah, we
early
were
on, and he just turned it
started
around.
0-16.
Yeah. Yeah, so I like that lineup. I agree with almost every one. I'm not going to show all my cards though, because obviously I got to give my lineup next week. But yeah, I like it. All right. So for the NL lineup for first base, it's got to be Freddie Freeman. This dude is aging like
Yeah,
wine. He's having one of the
yeah,
best seasons in his career right now, and I don't think anyone else is even close to him for starting at first base. Second base, my heart wants me to go Nico Horner really bad. I think he's had a fantastic year. He's batting over 400 with runners in scoring position. He's been one of the unsung heroes on this Cubs team, but I don't see him starting realistically. I think Ketel Marte is the starter at second base, having a fantastic season. Was hurt for a little bit, but is batting over 300 right now. Just having a great season so far, hitting for power. On both sides of the plate. Usually he's just known for hitting lefties really well, and he's okay against righties. He's been hitting both righties and lefties extremely well right now. So that's my second baseman. Third base, Manny Machado. He's been the best third baseman in the NL by far for me, at least. Having a great season, and that Padres team has been really impressive. So I think they have to have someone in the starting lineup because of how good the Padres have been, and Manny Machado seems the most deserving. I mean, Tatis is too, but he's kind of slowed down a little bit.
yeah.
Shortstop, got to go Francisco Lindor. Mets are the best team in the NL right now. Lindor is a big part of that. So I think that's kind of a no-brainer pick there. For center field, I got to go with PCA. I think he's by far the favorite. I think he'll get the fan votes. I think all the fans love him in baseball. And I think he is the most deserving out of all the center fielders, or actually out of all the outfielders, to be fair. I think PCA should be a starter, like with no doubt in my mind. Second outfield spot, I'm going with Kyle Tucker. He's had a great season. This one was the hardest choice because you could go a few routes. You can go Tucker, you can go Tatis, or you can go Corbin Carroll. All three of those guys are very deserving, if you ask me. But obviously, with my bias and watching him play every day, I'm going with Kyle Tucker. And then my third outfield spot, this might shock a lot of people, but I'm going with James Wood. I really like what I've seen from him this season.
Mm,
I think he's off to a great start, a promising young player. And why not get the Nationals something to be excited about? Because it's not like they're going to be excited come fall time. So let's give them a little all-star starter in James Wood. I like that. And then
big James
catcher,
Wood, yeah.
I am a big James Wood guy, except in MLB The Show, I can't seem to figure it out with him. But that's besides the point. Catcher, I'm gonna go with Will Smith. I think he's been the best hitting catcher on in the NL this year. William Contreras was close for me, but if it comes to a close battle, I'm never picking a Brewer, so I'm going with Will Smith at my catcher spot. And DH, again, as much as I would like to pick Seiya Suzuki, having one of his best seasons, on pace for 40 home runs, second in RBIs, I can't go with him because, you got Shohei Ohtani there. And let's face it, it's just Shohei Ohtani. He's going to make it every single year, probably as long as he's in the league. And
Mm-hmm.
then starting pitcher, I'm obviously going with Paul Skeens, despite having some losses on his record. Those are nowhere near being his fault. So
No,
he's the most
no.
deserving in the NL. And yeah, that's my lineup for the NL.
Yeah, solid.
I do something that I found interesting. I think the NL is significantly better than the AL this season, which it hasn't
Yeah.
been the case the last few years, or the last like 20 years. The AL has always seemed to be better than the NL, but I'm really starting to feel this shift of like the NL becoming the more talented division or
It's
league.
just
I mean,
it's what's that one? Just the division with like the Giants, the Padres,
the West, the NL West.
the West. Man, that thing is stacked. It's
Yeah.
insane. And your division stacked too. Was that Central?
Yeah, the NL Central. I'm actually glad you mentioned that. That coming into this year, they were saying that was probably gonna be the weakest division. They had the Cubs as heavy favorites for that. They actually have the most wins out of any division in baseball right now. It's pretty impressive. As much as I would like to be spaced out from the Cardinals or Brewers, they're right on our butts right now. And the Reds aren't even like crazy out of it yet. They still have a chance where if they get really hot in the second half of the season, they can even make their way into the conversation. So yeah, the NL Central has been fantastic this year, and I was not expecting that at all.
Yep.
It's going to be a fun All Star game this year. I feel like we'll
Yeah, I
see if
love
the
the All
NL
Star
can
game.
win back to back. I can't remember the last time an NL team would have won back to back. That'd be a pretty crazy story.
Didn't they win off like a game winner or something, or a walk off?
I think so. I don't know. I have a hard
I
time
might have
remembering last year's All Star game.
I might have been just thinking about how close that home run derby was, because that was very entertaining.
Yeah. Hey, I would like to see PCA in the home run derby. I'm just throwing that out there. I think that'd be fun to see. All right, we're gonna keep track of the MLB and stuff, and as All Star Week approaches, we'll keep giving updates on that. And finally, what we're gonna do is slide into the UFC. Obviously, we had Marab versus Sean O'Malley. Marab has won for the second time against him. What are your thoughts on the fight? And where do you see O'Malley going? Where do you see Marab going? These sort of things. Just your thoughts.
Yeah, yeah. So I wasn't up to watch the fight, but I was watching the highlights and stuff, and you know, it was like it felt like night and day compared to the first fight between or just on O'Malley's part. But then when you look at Marab, it's just like, man, he's gotten even better, and it's hard to even like think that just because his strikes were landing, and for I know everyone's giving him crap about him not subbing, being able to sub people, but for him to win that way, it's against a good guy. Like Sean was like stuffing takedowns and stuff too, and he just once he got him on the ground, that was pretty much it. So yeah, I just massive respect to Marab, and I think Sean. Man, I don't know. I think he should move up. He's got to figure something out because he's not going to win a belt in that division with Marab. So, yeah, I think Marab's got that division on lock for foreseeable future. And Sean, I have pretty much no idea. It's so up in the air with him. So, yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. I still love him as a fighter, as a guy, but it's so unclear what can happen.
Yeah, so I actually did watch the fight. I tuned in for just that fight and that fight only. I didn't watch any of the other card. Um, and I'm watching the first round, and like you said, it's night and day. Like O'Malley looks like he made some big adjustments. He's starting to stuff the takedowns a lot better. But the thing is, once Marab gets that one takedown, you're down the rest of the round. He's
Yeah.
suffocating you. It's not like he's just keeping you down there to keep you down there. He's ground and
Making you
pounding
fight.
you.
Yeah.
He's like kneeing your ribs. He's punching you in the face. He's elbowing you in the face. Like he's doing all these crazy things. He's like a bear in my eyes. Like he's like a bear mauling someone. That's like the vibes I get with him. And he just doesn't run out of gas. I don't think I've ever seen a fighter with such a crazy gas tank. It's unbelievable. He doesn't even sit down half the times in between rounds. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Um, it's like round two came around and it started out very good for O'Malley, but then obviously we saw Merab pick up Sean. And when he picked him up and walked over to throw him down, that's kind of when I knew the fight was going to be over because I was like, there's just only so much you can take. And imagine how tiring it is to have that guy on top of you, like that whole first round, and then he's just going to do it again the next round. It's like I kind of had a feeling it was going to turn in a negative way there. And Merab got the job done by submission, which he hadn't really been known for. So, like you said, for him to add that to his bag, that's kind of scary. Obviously, his striking looked a lot better than what it's looked like in the past. He was really landing some clean shots on O'Malley. I was really shocked. Yeah, he looks like a very complete fighter, and I think he's only getting better with each fight. And, I like Merab a lot. He seems
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
genuinely good guy. He's very happy and grateful for what he gets to do. So I always respect people that are like that. I just really like Sean O'Malley too, and I really felt bad for the guy because you can tell he made a ton of lifestyle changes.
Oh my gosh.
Was a lot
Yeah.
more humble coming into this fight. Wasn't nearly as flashy. Didn't have the dyed hair, the crazy hair, and the famous walkout song that he always walks out to. It was a very different tone, and just for him to have an even worse fate than the first fight.
I
Uh,
know.
I kind of felt for the guy, but I really think he can still find success moving up, especially with Taporia leaving that division, Volkanovski being the current champion of that division. I think he has a chance to make some noise in that division for a little bit, but I don't see him beating Merab anytime soon. I think he needs to leave bantamweight. I think Merab's going to run that division for a long time. I know DC and Joe Rogan were already saying that he's one of the best, if not the best, bantamweight fighters they've ever seen. So it was a very interesting fight, but man, Merab is just different, I think. And I think we're just starting to see that, especially with the strike, and that caught me by so much surprise. I was not
I
expecting
know.
that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said it to you before. I think that probably one of the most impressive things in UFC is Merab's, conditioning. I don't know what kind of secrets he's got to be able to hold that kind of, conditioning up, but yeah, it's so impressive. So I'm excited to see what both fighters, do next. And yeah,
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much going to wrap up this episode. So thank you guys for tuning into this week's episode of GM Sports Report, where every play counts. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to be able to see our weekly episodes on all things sports. For additional content, check the description to see links to our Instagram and TikTok account. This is Grant Mason. Sign off for now. Great week, everyone.
thank you guys.